Now we head to Lebanon for today's Focus Reports, a country now firmly in Saudi Arabia's sights. Riyadh has been mounting pressure on the tiny Mediterranean nation and has been suspending military aid, warning its citizens to steer clear of the country. Well, the pressure comes after Beirut refused to condemn the January attack on the Saudi embassy in Tehran on the grounds it described Hezbollah as a terrorist group. Well, economic sanctions could capsize the country, and the crisis has a feel of David and Goliath to it. But with Lebanese families now being targeted, the country remains as defiant as ever.
These activists are filming their raid of the Beirut headquarters of Saudi daily Al-Sharq Al-Awsat. They are there to protest a cartoon that has not gone down well in Lebanon. It reads, "The Lebanese State. April Fools." This is the man who shot the video. Abbas Zahri is a renowned activist. At one point, he had nearly 1 million followers on Twitter. That day, he spent every minute expecting to be arrested.
Okay, so they arrest me. What crime are they going to charge me with? That I opposed the newspaper which insulted my country? This Saudi newspaper should have attacked the Iranian flag instead. Why do they always attack our little country? Why does Lebanon always turn into a battlefield for others?
Since our meeting, Abbas has been hiding to escape the police. It's difficult for this former businessman to feel like a common criminal. Abbas has lived in the Gulf for 20 years. A few months ago, he ran a restaurant chain with 700 employees under him, before being deported with his entire family.
I was expecting this because I have a brother who died fighting with Hezbollah, and because I'm Shiite. I got to a point where I wondered, all my friends have been deported, why hasn't it happened to me yet? Me, I like Hezbollah, and I like Syed Hassan Nasrallah. What is my crime?
Abbas is far from an isolated case. The United Arab Emirates have triggered several waves of deportations in recent years. Hassan Alian chairs a committee dedicated to this very issue.
They're using these deportations to create political pressure. They assume that Hezbollah will be pressured by its support base. They think these people might rise up and start criticizing Hezbollah, telling them enough is enough.
Saudi Arabia, however, doesn't hesitate to put pressure directly on Lebanon. In late February, it announced the cancellation of 2 weapons donations for the Lebanese army with a total value of $4 billion. Many of the goods were to be provided by France. Only a few Milan missiles were finally delivered last fall, but that's it. For the president of the Saudi-Lebanese Friendship Committee, the disappointment of the Wahhabi kingdom is a reflection of its political and financial investment in Lebanon till now.
Today, the crisis between the Gulf countries and Lebanon is no longer just about governments. It now affects the people themselves. The dominant feeling toward Lebanon in the Gulf countries, especially in Saudi Arabia, has become negative.
Another sign of Saudi anger, its abrupt decision to close the Beirut office of Al Arabiya television channel. Alia Ibrahim is one of the 27 people who were fired overnight. The reasons given by the channel's management have not convinced the Lebanese public.
As a journalist, I know the interpretation of the audience was that this is not just a security and an economic measure, it's also a political one. Some people considered this to be another Saudi slap in the face for the Lebanese.
It's the same story with the Minister of Information. Ramzi Jarej thinks the Gulf countries have got the wrong target.
This pressure is not justified. If certain countries think Lebanon is being held hostage in some way by Hezbollah, well, they shouldn't punish the hostage. They should seek to punish the aggressor, the hostage taker.
The Gulf countries have asked their citizens to avoid Lebanon. But the impact of this will be limited. Their wealthy tourists have already almost deserted the country. A much more serious threat weighs on the financial system. If there was a massive withdrawal of Gulf deposits from Lebanese banks, it could collapse.
Today, the only thing saving Lebanon from being in a similar situation to Greece is that its banks still have liquidities, which means the banking sector is able to absorb the cost of the debt and the debt burden. But if this liquidity is ever affected, it will bode very badly for Lebanon.
But if they attack Lebanon's wallet, the Gulf countries run the risk of permanently alienating a population already exasperated by several months of open crisis.